Howdy friends, my name's Hannah, and today we're going to walk through 4 steps to smooth sailing with YNAB, making sure we're getting the very most out of it. Let's roll. Just the #1 all-time greatest thing about YNAB is that it helps you take an ambiguous lump sum of money, affectionately called your bank account, and helps you transform it into a spending plan that you can feel secure in and even excited about, because you're funding whatever kinds of expenses you want as much as you feel is ideal for you. Are we sensing a theme here? That's why some of us tuck $300 in a clothing category every month, and some of us have no clothing category at all, because I can build my dollars around a spending plan that brings me joy and adds contentment to my life, not just copy and paste the way someone else said to do it. Having a few simple, good YNAB habits lined up just ensures that you're getting to keep all your main things the main thing. So, without a moment more, the 4 steps we're gonna cover today: recording your spending, making sure YNAB matches the bank, adjusting your plan, and checking YNAB before spending. Let's walk through them. The first key step to rock-solid YNABing is recording your spending. When we record our spending, we're creating this beautiful thing for ourselves called awareness. We know what our money's doing, where it's going, if it's getting us closer to what matters to us. And awareness is what frees us to spend without worry or second guessing. Because why worry or second guess when you already know exactly what every dollar is doing for you? Lucky for you, you can keep your accounts updated a few different ways with a few different levels of effort. You can pull transactions into YNAB automatically by linking your bank. You can batch upload transactions with a method called file-based import, or you can leave your bank accounts unlinked and enter transactions yourself. So let's go ahead and walk through these options to find out what's the best fit for you. Don't want to spend time entering every transaction? Link your bank accounts to YNAB and it'll pull in transactions from your bank automatically. We call this method direct import. Now, you may have already done this when first setting up YNAB, but you can link or unlink accounts at any time in your YNAB journey by right-clicking an account and selecting Link or Unlink on the web app, or on the mobile app, selecting an account from the Account tab, tapping the 3-dot menu in the upper right corner, selecting Edit Account, and linking or unlinking from there. With direct import, once a transaction is cleared at your bank or on your credit card, it'll boop into YNAB with the date, the vendor or payee, total, and cleared status already populated. Meaning all you need to do is match up the transactions to whichever categories you want and approve them. Once you do, the category balance will adjust and you'll know your spending plan is up to date. And P.S. here's a little time-saving hack. If a bunch of these transactions look good to go right out the gate, then I can just batch approve a bunch at once with the action bar. After a while, YNAB starts to learn where you like to categorize which transactions, and it'll start doing most of the sorting work for you, making this task even easier over time. If you ever have a transaction that spans multiple categories, use the split feature. So when you come back from Costco with a pair of new pajamas, an above-ground pool, and a month's worth of pantry staples, you can categorize each exactly where you want them. Now, fair warning, importing a transaction does take a few days depending on the bank. It's not instantaneous. You'll know you have newly imported transactions waiting for your attention when you see a dot next to one of your accounts. Click into it and you'll find all the new transactions bolded. You can also pull up a filtered view of just your newly imported transactions by clicking the banner at the top of the All Accounts tab or at the top of any individual account. Side note, you may even notice pending transactions in your account. These are transactions the bank has seen but hasn't cleared yet. You can tell a cleared transaction from an uncleared transaction by the C symbol. Green is cleared, gray is uncleared. Pending transactions will eventually fully import into your account register once the bank has cleared them, so you don't need to do anything with these yet. As long as they're in the pending transactions section, they won't have any impact on your category totals. But if you're like me and you just can't wait to get your hands on a fresh new transaction ripe for the categorizing, you can categorize it and enter it into YNAB early, uncleared. Just know that once it enters the account register, this transaction will now have the expected impact on whatever category you categorized it to. P.S. If you have any transactions pending where the balance itself may change, like a bill from a restaurant that hasn't had your tip factored in, or an online grocery order without an official bill yet, it's best not to enter these into your account register just yet. Once the bank clears this transaction and factors in that adjustment, the pending transaction will import into YNAB, reflecting its new true amount. Now, YNABers love linking their accounts through direct import because not only does YNAB gather up most of the info for you, it also ensures that all transactions are getting entered into YNAB, none forgotten, and the transactions only come in once they're cleared, which, spoiler alert, can be very helpful when it comes to step 2, which we're going to get to in a minute. If you want the time-saving benefit of automatically imported transactions but don't want to link your bank accounts up to YNAB, say hello to file-based import. Did you know you can log into your online banking site and download a customized list of transactions from any account or date range you want? Yeah, just export them as a QFX or OFX file. QAF and CSV files can work as a secondary option if the first 2 file types aren't available to you, but the first 2 will give you the most seamless experience. Now you can simply drag and drop that file, or hey, multiple files, onto YNAB, and would you look at you go, you've entered a whole slew of transactions into YNAB at once. Finish up by customizing any memos you want and categorizing the transactions to their ideal categories. The last method we'll walk through is entering transactions yourself, which is exactly what it sounds like. Anytime you spend money, you're just whipping out YNAB and recording all the information yourself. $40 at Walmart, 4 diapers, I used my credit card. No need to link bank accounts or wait on transactions to import, just you and your thumbs at the ready. Now, a few reasons this method is clutch. 1, it increases your awareness of where your money is going. I don't feel much when I swipe a card, I hate to say. But having to type out how much I spent, what it was on, seeing that category balance lower when I hit save, I feel way more in tune with where my money's at. A second bonus of this approach, your category totals in YNAB update immediately, which is great when I realized the morning after my diaper run that we're also out of baby wipes and guess who's headed back to the store. Now when I'm deciding whether to get the 2-pack or the 10-pack, I know my baby stuff category is giving me the most up-to-date info on how much money I have available to confidently spend on slightly damp cuts of cloth. And a third reason entering transactions yourself can just be easier. Right after spending, all that information is still fresh on the noggin. Listen, a few days from now, I might not even remember going to Walmart at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, okay? But right now, I do. So I'm gonna take the win while I'm ahead. Thank you very much. A lot of YNABers will actually combine these 3 approaches to get the best of all the worlds. They may let direct import take care of the behind the scenes transactions like automated bill payments and automatically deposited paychecks, but enter their everyday type spending themselves, like my diaper purchase or my front porch grocery delivery. And the good news is, if you use any combination of these approaches, you're not gonna be creating duplicate transactions in YNAB. They're gonna be matched up automatically and you'll just be asked to confirm the linkages, just to make sure. So click the link to approve or batch approve multiple at once. Now, what's possibly even more important than how we update our accounts is how often we update them. The more, the better. If I go ham spending my fun money throughout the week, who, me? But I never tell YNAB how I was spending that money, I may update my accounts 2 weeks later to find my fun money is $200 overspent. And really, I'm not mad about it. The things I bought gave me great joy. I mean, I bought them for a reason. But now I have to figure out what other categories I'm gonna move money from in order to make up for this overspending in my fun money. But if I had been keeping up with my accounts and transactions all along, whether that's by direct import or file-based import or entering transactions myself, I would have seen before swiping my card that I didn't have enough fun money to buy the neck massager or the new tennis racket among everything else I already bought, and I would have been able to ask myself, do I want to wait to buy this thing till next month when I have more fun money again? Or do I want to go ahead and figure out what other category I could take money from now in order to just go ahead and buy this thing today? Being able to make these decisions in the moment with the correct, most up-to-date information is what makes for easy, carefree spending. Knowing beforehand what we're okay trading off in order to get what we really want. That's the kind of peace and clarity we get when we update our accounts. An easy tip to encourage the habit of updating your accounts often is attaching this habit to another existing habit you already have. Maybe spending 2 minutes checking over YNAB while you're brushing your teeth, or while you're in the school pickup line waiting on your 4th grader. Just remember, the more often we update, the more clarity we'll have. Okay, so How we feeling? We feeling good? Because we're moving on to key step number 2, making sure our YNAB balances match our bank balances. At YNAB, we call this reconciling, but you could also think of it like balancing a checkbook. Reconciling is simply confirming that the balances in YNAB match the balances in your bank account. Since we use YNAB to guide our spending and tell us where we stand with our money, we need to be sure the numbers we're seeing in YNAB are actually accurate, yeah? Let's start by just clicking the reconcile button and seeing what it tells us. If we get this message telling us that the cleared balance at the bank is matching the cleared balance in YNAB, then this means we're actually good to go. Everything at the bank matches everything in YNAB, and we can reconcile and be on our way. When you do reconcile, you'll notice that the cleared C icons to the right of each transaction have changed to green locks, indicating that these transactions have been reconciled and their status will no longer change. The next time you go to reconcile, you can easily filter out all reconciled transactions to ensure that you're only dealing with any new transactions that have entered YNAB since your last reconciliation session. However, if you're finding that the cleared balance you're seeing in YNAB isn't matching the cleared balance you're seeing at the bank, we want to figure out what's making this happen. Are there any transactions missing from YNAB that have been posted at the bank? Maybe you find a transaction that got recorded twice, or perhaps to the wrong account or for the wrong total. It's also a good idea to double check the cleared status of each transaction. If a transaction is cleared at the bank, meaning it's been fully processed and is no longer pending, we want to make sure it's marked as cleared in YNAB as well. If a transaction is still pending at the bank or hasn't even shown up at the bank yet, but we've already added it to YNAB, make sure those transactions remain uncleared in YNAB. Once they do clear the bank, that's when we'll want them cleared in YNAB as well. Pro tip, if you think an uncleared transaction might be the reason your balances aren't matching up, you can easily pull up any uncleared transactions in your account by clicking the top of the cleared column until all uncleared transactions are brought to the top. Alternatively, some find it helpful to click View and check on Show Running Balance to see if that can help them spot where their transactions got off. And for more troubleshooting tips on why your balances might be off, you can check out this video, which takes you through a deep dive of the reconciliation process. You're gonna love it. It's so fun. However, if you walk through these troubleshooting steps and still aren't able to identify the issue, this is where we call it a cat scratch and simply adjust the cleared balance in YNAB to match the cleared balance at the bank. Trust me, it is no big deal. We're just gonna move right on along. To do this, tell YNAB, nope, these balances do not match, and update the balance to match the cleared balance you're seeing at the bank. YNAB will make this adjustment to your account balance in the form of an adjustment transaction, and now you can have full confidence in YNAB again, knowing that it matches the bank to a T. Reconciling often gives you confidence that you're making spending decisions off of information you know is true and accurate. I personally find myself usually reconciling 1 or 2 times a week because then I know if some kind of error does slip into YNAB, I'm only going to be sifting through a few days of transactions to find and correct the error, which is a lot easier than if I'm only reconciling once a month, you know? So find a rhythm that works for you. This brings us to our third key step, which is adjusting the plan. Sometimes, as much as we try to be mindful, we just have to spend more than we planned. And sometimes the world is kind to us and we spend hardly any money in a category at all. So whenever you sit down to do your YNAB routine, glance over your categories to see if you have any money that you'd like to move around. Start by looking for red. Red represents overspending, aka real cash money spent out of a category that wasn't actually available to be spent, which in turn means that these other green amounts, now they really can't be trusted either because we're gonna have to use some of these green dollars to cover the overspent red dollars. The easiest way to do this is through the overspent focused view. These categories need their overspending covered by moving money from somewhere else in your plan that doesn't need the money quite as much. AKA, we want to cover this high priority overspending with another well-funded low priority category. For me, I find I'm usually borrowing money from super flexible lower stakes categories, like household goods, personal care, and any variable categories that have spare change left in them, like utility bill categories that ended up costing less than we planned for, or or our gasoline category when we didn't hit the road as much as usual. If you use credit cards, also keep an eye out for any categories you see with a credit card symbol next to a negative yellow dollar amount. We definitely want to be sure to cover this overspending as well because, given the fact that we were using a credit card, this overspending occurred with borrowed money. Eek. When we cover this type of credit card overspending with money from another lower priority category, these dollars will actually get sent up to our credit card payment category, giving us full confidence that we have every dollar we need to pay the credit card bill when it arrives. Next, check in on any categories that seem like they might need more money. If your groceries category only has $30 left, but you still have a week to go before the end of the month, find a few other lower priority categories that you can move money from in order to have the money you need for groceries for the last week of the month. It's also a good idea to peek at your transportation category and any bill categories that have yet to be paid. Lastly, our fourth and final step to our YNAB routine is the simplest but the most impactful. Check YNAB before you spend. This is such a crucial key to shaking that spending guilt forever and actually getting to enjoy the way you use your money. If you're walking into the grocery store, check your grocery category first. If you're thinking about hitting up the coffee shop drive-thru, check your fun money or your dining out category first. This simple action gives us the clarity we need before swiping our card. And you can make it even easier on yourself by adding a YNAB widget of all your most frequented categories to your phone's home screen. So now you just roll up to the store, check your grocery category in the time it takes you to unbuckle your seatbelt, and even start recording your transaction in the checkout lane with the tap of a category. And remember, seeing you have no money left in your clothing category doesn't mean you can't go out and get those winter boots you're so desperately needing. It just means you need to decide what other category or two you're gonna spend less in this month instead before you go out and buy them. Your spending plan doesn't have to be restricting. YNAB's not a set of rules telling you what you can and can't do. It's simply a practice to help you decide what your dollars can best do for you based on the priorities only you can decide. In fact, that's YNAB's whole method. Give every dollar a job. It's as simple as that. Giving every one of our dollars a job grounds our financial reality, establishes our stability, creates true resilience that we can fall back on, and allows us to dream and create with our money, all guided by the freeing power of flexibility. When we give every dollar a job, we're giving ourselves the gift of clarity, freedom, and joy in our spending. Listen. Life is the opposite of linear and predictable. And we're not just talking about big, responsible financial decisions. We're talking about how sometimes you can't fathom the idea of making dinner tonight, but your dining out category is totally empty. Sometimes you just need to get the dang pizza, am I wrong? And so you move some money from your home repairs category, buy the pizza without guilt, and that pizza tastes good. That is the freedom and the joy of having a flexible spending plan that adapts to your real life and your real priorities, no matter how random or last minute they might be. Can I get an amen in the back? And that is it. Update those accounts, make sure your balances match, adjust to meet your needs, and always check YNAB before spending. Thank you so much for joining me today. Congrats on paving your way to the most carefree spending you've ever known, and I will see you in the next video. Tapping the three-dot menu in the upper right corner. I'm so tutorial-y right now. Hey, but at least I'm pleasant. All right, time to get funny. Grocery? Yeah, well, I have so much lip gloss in my throat. My tummy's kind of rumbly. Okay, we're almost there. You strong, Hannah? You're so strong. You're so strong, but your tummy is not. It's that day. It's that day. It's that day. You know what sounds fun right now? Sneezing. Oh, wow. Am I wrong? The Wicked Witch of the East, bro. Holy schnikes, that was a long line. Every day I come in here freezing, and every day 2 minutes into filming, I am roasting. Explain that. I'm almost done.